In this video, let's take a closer look at the relationship between two very interesting characters, Peter Pan and Wendy. Their story is a lot more complex than it might seem at first glance. Basically, they represent two sides of the same big challenge that a lot of people face as they grow up. On one hand, there's the desire to stay young and carefree forever, and on the other, there's the natural push toward growing older and becoming more mature. So, while their story might seem like it has the potential to be a typical romantic tale, it actually isn't a love story in the usual way you might expect. Instead, it's more about these deeper themes connected to growing up and staying young. Let's start by talking about Peter Pan. He is a character who simply refuses to grow up. He chooses to live in this magical place called Neverland, which is kind of like a fantasy world where kids don't get older. Peter really wants to stay a boy forever, never aging and never having to deal with the responsibilities and changes that come with growing up. This refusal to grow up is at the core of who he is. For Peter, staying young means freedom, adventure, and endless fun without any worries or complications that adults have. Now, Wendy is very different from Peter in what she wants. Unlike Peter, Wendy actually wants to grow up. She's curious about what it means to become an adult and to take on new responsibilities, like caring for others and having a family. She looks forward to the joys and experiences that come with getting older, not just the serious stuff, but also the excitement of learning new things, maturing emotionally, and finding her place in the world. So, there's this big contrast between Peter's wish to stay forever young and Wendy's desire to grow into adulthood. They both symbolize those different feelings that many people have when they think about growing up. On one hand, there's that natural reluctance to leave behind the carefree days of childhood, which Peter embodies perfectly. On the other hand, there's also a sense of anticipation and excitement about the future that Wendy represents. When we look closer at their interactions, you can see that there are moments hinting at some kind of feelings between them. For example, Wendy sometimes shows signs of jealousy, especially when Peter pays attention to other things or other people. It's almost like she wishes he would notice her more or that he could understand her feelings better. But even though these feelings are noticeable, the story doesn't really go deeper into them or develop a full-blown romance. When Peter Pan first took Wendy to Neverland, she was absolutely amazed by everything she saw. It was such a magical, exciting place, like stepping into a dream where children never have to grow up or worry about adult problems. Wendy quickly became fascinated by this new world. Since she arrived, she naturally started to take on a kind of motherly role for the lost boys who lived there. These kids were sort of like Peter Pan's friends, kids who had also come to Neverland and were stuck in this endless childhood. Wendy, being a bit older and more mature, began to look after them, care for them, and act like a gentle, nurturing figure. From Peter's point of view, Wendy became like a mother to the lost boys, which was a very important role in that world. He saw her as someone who brought care, comfort, and stability to their wild lives full of adventure. But even though she was having fun and experiencing wonders in Neverland, she eventually began to feel a pull back home. Deep down, she wanted to return to her family and live a full life in the real world. She wanted to grow up, experience the different stages of life, and enjoy all the things that come with it. Things Peter could never ever understand because he chose to stay a forever young boy.
Go on! Go back and grow up. But I'm warning you, once you're grown up, you can never come back. Never!
Wendy realized that living in Neverland meant being stuck in childhood forever, a kind of endless loop with no change or growth. While that sounds fun at first, she started to feel that she was missing out on something very important by not growing up. This part of their story is actually quite sad if you think about it. When Wendy goes back to her own world, she knows that she will age and grow older like everyone else. Meanwhile, Peter Pan will remain exactly the same because he refuses to grow up. Imagine this: one day, Wendy might be very old, like 90 years old, while Peter would still be just a young boy. That means Wendy's life will move forward with all its changes, milestones, and eventually old age, but Peter's existence will never progress beyond childhood. Because of this, Peter becomes something almost like a precious memory for Wendy. He represents the carefree joy and magic of being young and free, a part of her past that she remembers fondly when she looks back on her time in Neverland. Their relationship isn't the usual kind of love story that you might expect. It's more complicated and bittersweet. It's not about romance or passion, but rather about a clash between two very different ideas: the desire to stay young and hold on to childhood forever, embodied by Peter, and the desire to grow up, mature, and live a full meaningful life, as Wendy does. This contrast is what makes their connection so interesting and unique. In many ways, Wendy and Peter teach each other important lessons. Wendy teaches Peter about love, connection, and caring for others. She introduces him to feelings and experiences that go beyond fun and adventure, like responsibility, empathy, and the warmth of human relationships. On the other hand, Peter teaches Wendy about freedom and adventure. He shows her what it means to live without worries or limits, to explore and imagine without the constraints that growing up often brings.